Kirby in the Forgotten Land, but every level has a different challenge. I'm gonna spin a wheel of challenges, and whatever it lands on, I have to beat the level with. And if I don't rescue every Waddle Dee in the level, then the challenge carries over, meaning the next level has 2 challenges. So I quickly got thrown into a different dimension and landed on a random beach. But before I can take a step, no killing enemies, so I can't kill enemies. Pretty simple. Well, sorta simple. Does inhaling count as killing the enemy? Actually, I can just skip this part. I continued avoiding the enemies and then went into this room where I inhaled an entire car. So now I have to avoid every enemy while possessing a 1974 Toyota Corolla. Initially, I thought the only way I could move was by pressing the B button, but turns out you can slowly accelerate by holding the left stick. And now, oh, are you kidding me? So, what do I do now? I can't go any further without defeating these fluffy beasts, so I decided the least violent way to get rid of them was by guarding. Like seriously, they'll take damage by running into me while I'm guarding. So did I fail the first level? Yesn't? Now time for downtown grassland. And now I can't guard. This is probably one of the easiest challenges on the wheel. Since I could attack enemies now, the first thing I did was aimbot these dogs. Anyways, this level was pretty normal. I became a vending machine, a cone, and a hemisphere? Yeah, nothing crazy happened here. I rescued all the Waddle Dee and went through the tunnel. Like, I literally went through the tunnel, that's the next level's name. So the challenge for this one was no copy abilities, which was an issue. What I was supposed to do was use the fire ability to light these candles, which would give me a Waddle Dee. But since I can't do that, I didn't even bother looking for the other ones. So I kinda just went through the motions in this level. However, that means the next level has 2 challenges. One being no copy abilities from the previous level, and the other being upside down controllers. So this is pretty obvious. I have to play with my controllers upside down. I quickly learned how to jump and navigate, so this level was actually pretty easy. To be fair though, I did get really lucky at some parts. Next up, a trip to a live mall. Upside down controllers on top of no taking damage. By the way, a level can only have 2 challenges, so no copy abilities is gone now. Anyways, this level was insane. I'm gonna go step by step on how I survived it. First of all, not taking damage with this type of setup is obviously very difficult. It also felt like this was the longest and most enemy-filled level I've seen so far. So we start off here at the entrance. At first, things were going good. I just avoided all the enemies and obstacles. Then a bone exploded in front of me, so there's fail number 1. My second try, I ran straight into this guy. My third try, I got boned again. But on my 4th try is where I got the idea to just fly over everything. Then I found this thing, the invincible candy. Eating it will make me immune to getting hit for several seconds, so that made the next 2 sections easy. Soon enough, I found myself in the mall's food court, so I absolutely feasted, and nearly took damage because I didn't see that enemy there. But after that was the hardest part of the level, Frosty Fatso. I lasted a solid 4 seconds before I took damage. Right before the battle, there's a dispenser that gives you the spike ability. This made the beginning of the level mighty easy, like I was literally speedrunning. I got back to Uncle Frosty, and so on my 3rd attempt, gosh dang it! The ultimate strategy was to dodge his snowballs and dad bod body slams, then spike him when he's stunned. I eventually got him, and from that point onwards, I was being extremely careful. Soon enough, I had to ditch the spike because this part required me to use the ice ability. Spike's the MVP of this level so far. Anyways, this part was way scarier than it needed to be. The conveyor belts are set up to put you on the very edge at every corner, and one wrong move means I would fall into the spike pit. Reminder that I'm playing with upside down controllers. I actually did make a wrong move, but somehow I didn't fall. Add that to the list of mini panic attacks. Oh, a chest. There's probably a Waddle Dee in here. My soul left my body in this moment. I started panicking, so I just mashed every button on my Joy-Con. I have no clue how you do this move regularly. In fact, that might just be regular guarding, but by some miracle, I didn't take damage here. I've come way too far to lose now. Luckily, all the Awoofies decided to take one side of this escalator, and I was able to react fast enough to avoid being bombed, so there you go. What a crazy level. But the tough levels don't stop there, because after that was the boss of the world, Donkey Kong, Gorimondo? The previous challenge of no taking damage is paired with no collecting star coins. These are star coins. That challenge became an issue like 2 times. The real issue was not taking damage. As you can imagine, I took a lot of damage. There was an instance where I got attacked during a cutscene because I wasn't paying attention. Then I got the idea of slow-mo dodging his attacks, which was risky but effective. This looks like something Donkey Kong would use in Smash Bros, but this move was scary. I would just have to hope he'd stop before he came any closer to me. But eventually, I defeated him. Heck, I didn't even just defeat him, I straight up snapped him out of existence. So that's the first world complete. I'm already starting to hate this challenge. Back at Waddle Dee Town, I was informed I could upgrade my copy abilities now. All it took was a few hammer smashes to turn my cutter into Chakram Cutter. The next world was Everbay Coast, and the first level's challenge is no jumping, plus no collecting star coins. So I went into the level and jumped. So I restarted and collected star coins. Okay, for real this time. This was the beginning, and honestly, it was really easy. The main issue though was getting on this star. Have you ever played Smash Bros and see that one guy who just spams this move as Kirby? Yeah, I can actually use that move with the sword ability. From now on, whenever I can't jump, this is what I'll do. Anyways, the second part of this level was just water, which led to a boss fight, which I won, which led me here. These whirlpools were frustrating, but at least the coins were avoidable. If I ever need to jump over a short ledge like this, I can pull this gymnastics maneuver and go on my way. No, this is not jumping, this is guarding with style. The final part of the level was entirely skippable. Like, you can literally just hop in the water and finish the level right then and there. So boom. Now I just want to take a second to go over how frustrating this level was. Why does kicking a shell into the water give me a coin? Touching flowers, attacking enemies, swallowing enemies, it all gives me coins. Accidentally spitting out my sword ability, falling into a whirlpool, getting soft locked. This level took me 5 hours. Well, it was only 30 minutes, but it felt like 5 hours. But it's over with now, so next level. Challenge, no puff floating. That, whenever Kirby does that, I can't do that. What a comical challenge to pair with no jumping. This level is mainly made up of water, so I just stayed in it and skipped like the entire first half. Tell you what, the second half was also really easy. The only remotely difficult part was when I needed a perfectly sword attack onto this platform. I failed. But then the game respawned me on it, so let's go. No puff floating and no swallowing were the two challenges for the next level. Not bad at all. So I decided I was gonna take on the impossible task of finding all the Waddle Dee. The first thing I needed to do was knock down 3 posters. Not sure how that triggers a Waddle Dee to spawn, but I'm not complaining. Avoid touching spikes in the secret room. So I avoided touching spikes in the secret room. Freeze flew something with an ice ability, so I put on the ice hat and froze her. So for the first time since like level 2, a level will only have 1 challenge. Fast flowing waterworks, and the single challenge was Australian mode. What is Australian mode, you may be asking? That's Australian mode. I have to play with the screen upside down. There's really not much to say here. This level was frustrating and slow, but nothing too crazy. Back to having 2 challenges, Australian mode and can't go backwards. So that means I can't go backwards. Oh yeah, and this level happens to be the boss, Wispy Woods at home. I was expecting this to take a long time, but I was way off. I just spammed the cutter and dodge rolled a few attacks and his health bar was gone. It really was that easy. My own health bar was a little worrisome, but it was all good. Next world. Welcome to Wandaria is the name of the first level. I still can't go backwards, and now I can only move by sliding. Yeah, this level made me want to throw my controllers across the room. I accidentally kept dodge rolling instead of sliding. Plus, this level was really confusing when it came to the rules. I can only move by sliding, so how do I jump? I can't go backwards, so how do I do this? Near the end though, you actually had to go backwards. They decided to put this water pump up here in the front, and there's no way to beat the level without it. Honestly, I don't know what to do whenever a challenge becomes impossible. I guess keep a counter in the corner? The next level has the Discord mod challenge. That means I can't touch grass. On top of that, I can only move by sliding, and that's actually a good thing. In fact, this level is perfect for these 2 challenges. It's Circuit Speedway, where you drive as a car half the time. The only time grass was really a problem was in this room. The grass kind of blends in with the other material, and the cracks in between have grass in them too. This wild edge fight was hard at first, but that was before I realized I could use a copy ability. And as for the car, there were some parts where you had to touch grass, but check this out. Kirby himself is not touching the grass. The tires are touching the grass. Ah, big brain moment right there. Actually, that's probably stupid, but I'm still rolling with it. Invasion at the House of Horrors, the No Friends challenge. This means I have to beat the level while controlling 2 characters, and without touching grass. At first, I thought this level would be a cakewalk. It was an indoor level, so of course there's not going to be any grass. Why is there grass everywhere? Well, I'm in a post-apocalyptic world where nature has taken over, but there really shouldn't be this much grass. There was so much that I got confused. The grass like fades out, so I don't know what counts as grass and what doesn't. The game straight up messes with me by hiding the grass in the dark. After several restarts and light bulb malfunctions, I finally got to the end. And with that, have gone through a full rotation of the challenge wheel, so now, boom, they're all back. Alright mates, so how are we gonna start off this new rotation of challenges? Crikey! This level was a complete mess. It was essentially me just taking damage, losing, restarting, taking damage again, losing, restarting, and so on. I could go on about how this level made me want to punch Bandanity out of existence, but for the sake of time, let's just say this level was mildly infuriating. Finally, time for this world's boss. Our battle will be legendary, and I'm missing 5 Waddle Dees. So I went back into this level and spent the length of a TV show episode finding all the Waddle Dee, and without touching grass, I think. At the end of the level, I found out I had rescued exactly 5 Waddle Dees, so now I had enough to break down the water this Metroid Prime 4 release date, also known as the circus. Finally, the No Friends challenge is gone. Now I can focus on just 1 character. Anyways, the challenge is... So I pulled out the trusty Bandanity and went into the arena. I already knew this was going to be a disaster, I just wanted to see how bad it was going to be. The first issue, starting the battle, I had no clue where to go. Behold, Slee 9 Mloliu 6. My first try I was actually doing pretty decently. I got the bomb ability and it did pretty good damage. And if I were to lose it, I could use Bandanity to attack. So the No Friends challenge may actually be a good thing. However, if Kirby dies, then both characters die. So I had to prioritize protecting Kirby. My second try I accidentally spit out my bomb, but no problem. I just used these start things to attack, attack, plus I still had Bandana D. She used a grand total of like 2 attacks during the first phase, so this was easy actually. The second phase she threw swords at us, and you know what that means. So I kept dodging her attacks, attacking whenever I could, and there you go. I beat her in less than 10 minutes, which is like a personal record. On to the Winter Horns. Northeast Frost Street, a town named after a street. No amigos and upside down controllers. At this point I was so used to playing with inverted buttons that this felt normal. I went slowly but efficiently. The next level's challenge was only move while in midair, so pretty much just puff float the entire level. Considering I was pressing like 2 buttons the entire time, the upside down controllers part wasn't a problem. In fact, this level was also pretty easy. I didn't find all of them, but I rescued a decent amount of Waddle Dees too. Windy Freezing Seas challenges were only move while in midair, no going backwards, and no shivering. I made that last one up. So this level was, for the most part, easy, but there's 2 parts I want to go over here. First, I sorta have to go backwards here to get this boat, and again while on it. Second, you can't really move in midair when you're a scissor lift, so add that to the counter. These were really the only issues I had in this level though. The next level was just a long bridge with some bosses on it, no guarding. Occasionally I would accidentally guard out of habit, or I would get hit because I couldn't go backwards, but pretty okay level for the most part. But I guess skipping all the Waddle Dees catches up to you. I did a bit of researching and I decided this level had some easy Waddle Dees that I missed. So now, the boss. No guarding and only move by sliding. Well, you have to guard to slide, so I was genuinely surprised when I found out King DDD was the boss. And honestly, this fight wasn't too bad. The strat was to mash the B button, get hit, and then mash the B button. Occasionally I would get spiked, hammered, or accidentally guard, but this battle was over with within 20 minutes. Hey, why is he getting up there in the background? Oh, okay. No, not the butterfly elf. Oh, okay, so now I'm in a different world. This first level was crazy. The challenges were only sliding and no collecting coins. These challenges weren't that bad, so I decided I was gonna try and rescue every Waddle Dee. The first one was this guy after I collected 5 of these green shards. Pretty easy. The other 2 I had to knock down pillars to access. If I accidentally landed the pillar on one of these 2 kabus, then it would give me a coin. So I timed it just right for it to land right between them. The next task was to shoot down 3 of these targets. For this I needed the ranger ability, but if I swallowed any enemy I would get a coin. So I had to go all the way back to Waddle Dee Town and get the ability there. Once I did, all 3 targets were in the first area, so I knocked them all down. The next part's a bit interesting. Defeat the Lost Squishy. In order to do this, I needed to, well, defeat the Lost Squishy, but if I did that, it would give me a coin. Originally, I thought, you know what, we can make an exception, but later in the level, I took a pair of swan feet to the face, and when I respawned, I had 0 coins, but I still had the Squishy task complete. So, I guess I just accidentally cheated the system. Speaking of cheating the system, you can't physically slide with the ring mouth on, so I had to walk normally. So I essentially just found a loophole in the rules. That's not cheating, right? The final one was defeat Florina using ring mouth. Aside from me literally getting rid of ring mouth as I entered the battle, this one was pretty easy. Oh my. And so somehow I actually rescued every Waddle Dee in the level. So for the first time since like World 2, a level will only have 1 challenge. No joke, as I spun this wheel I told myself, please be Discord mod challenge. And then it landed on Discord mod challenge. The reason I wanted this one is because, well, we're in the desert. So for the first time since like the entire challenge, I got to enjoy a level. They did try to sneak some grass in there, but that's no problem. I took it easy and found every Waddle Dee, though I did screw up on this part and missed one, so I had to redo the entire level. But anyways, level complete, found all the Waddle Dees, next level. This one was just as good. Somehow this mall from earlier managed to become a desert temple in 3 business days. The challenge here was only move by dodge rolling, which on its own is pretty easy. But the thing is, this level's main gimmick is mouthful mode, and considering it's pretty hard to dodge roll while possessing a vending machine, this level was also very easy. So again, I took my time and found every Waddle Dee, and dodge rolled whenever I could. Next level. I guess this is what happens when you get the hard challenges over with first. So for the 3rd time in a row, this level was easy and I found every Waddle Dee. Also, can we just talk about this part right here? It's like the game knew I couldn't get any copy abilities. But anyways, I beat the level. I've literally found every single Waddle Dee in this world so far, so opening the gate was no problemo. So, what do I do? The entire objective of this level is to defeat the enemies, so, no challenge, I guess? Hey, blame the wheel, not me. And to be honest, while I'm doing this voiceover, that's kind of stupid, but I already went with it, so I just regularly fight this guy, I guess. So I regularly fought him, and I beat him on my first try. But then I decided, you know what, I might as well go back and do all the challenges for the Waddle Dee. The notably difficult one was clear under 2 minutes. My original plan was just to hammer him until he was gone, but what worked was hammering him until this part right here, then remove the ability and shoot stars at him. This way I could save time by attacking him while he's spinning and not have to wait until he stops. Into the final world. You know how like every single level from the previous world was easy? Yeah, well that continued here. The challenge was no swallowing. This is like one of the easiest challenges on the wheel. Some of the Waddle Dee required me to use the drill ability, so I made sure to get it at Waddle Dee Town. Other than that, this was another easy level, which is something I'm getting used to saying. I did have to make multiple trips though because I messed up and missed a Waddle Dee. Plus there was a number of times where I lost my ability and had to restart the level. But that's fine because I beat the level and now it's time to conquer the Inferno Road. This level was easy. right? Well, no. The challenge is don't take damage, and there's something that can damage me everywhere in this level. This snake, for example, he's either professionally trained or he's got an invisible extra mouth because he's got some insane range. Next, a full-on explosion on this poor frosty dude. I'm just following orders. Then I was playing the floor is lava. I had no clue you could walk on lava with the ice ability, but I found out the hard way that you had to stay in motion or else. In fact, I found out a lot of things the hard way in this level. After many attempts of trying not to take damage, I finally went damage free and rescued every Waddle Dee. So for the next level, the challenge can be one of two things: no jumping or no puff floating. These two are essentially the same thing, which is why when I spun puff floating, I decided not to find every Waddle Dee. That way I can just save myself some time and find them all on the next level, and save myself some time I didn't. This level took forever because I accidentally kept puff floating. I don't have any footage of it though because I deleted the original recording because I accidentally left it running for like an hour. But just like every other time so far, I eventually beat the level. Next up, a business meeting. The gathering of the Beast Council. Is that who I think it is? I told myself in my mind. Yeah, it's Gorimondo. If you don't remember, this guy gave me trouble back in the first world. I really didn't want to fight him again. It could take a long time to... Never mind. If ever in doubt, use the power of this fancy hat. Alright, well, after that was a racetrack and... Not a problem, let's go! Okay, maybe it is a problem. Yeah, I don't think it's possible to drive over this ledge, nor can I dodge roll over it. So I had to use the sword ability, meaning I had to fight Gorimondo the right way. But using the sword really slowed me down, meaning it was near impossible to get the Waddle Dee in time. So I decided I'm not gonna find them all on this level either. Right after that came another issue in the form of this ledge. It's just not possible to get up there without jumping, even with the sword. So that's one puff float. Actually, make that two because there was another ledge. I had to fight with Silly Dillo after that, but it was a mini version, so it was easy. I even accidentally completed one of the Waddle Dee challenges. After that, I became a construction pipe. This entire section has 3 mandatory jumps, so add that to the list. The parts where you don't have to jump actually lead you to a Waddle Dee, so there's a win. And now I'm fighting a tiger. The ice ability was the hero in this one. Now I'm a roller coaster. What is this level? Turns out hitting these green switches was useful because it led me straight to a Waddle Dee. When I finished the level, I thought, you know what? Maybe I can find all the Waddle Dees. I was only missing 5 of them. Venture deep into the secret passage was right at the beginning. I literally just needed to venture deep into the secret passage. One of the hidden Waddle Dees was very well hidden. It was in this random treasure chest out in the open. The secret one I can't see is defeat the tiger without taking damage. The ice ability is overpowered. You might want to look away because this part's painful. Up this ladder is another Waddle Dee, and guess what? I can't get it. I didn't have the sword ability anymore. I tried dodge rolling and everything, but nothing worked. So I painfully had to leave the Waddle Dee there. Then there was also that one Waddle Dee at the car part. For some reason, I just couldn't dash over the ledge anymore. And whenever I did, there usually wasn't enough time left. This is probably possible, but it would take a long time to do. So even after going back and finding all the other Waddle Dee, I decided to just give up and go into the next level. This one hurts. So the wheel is back, and for the first time in like 2 worlds, I'm gonna have 2 challenges in the level. No jumping and no friends challenge. The next level was the DDD boss fight, so I made sure to find every Waddle Dee in this level. The first one was near the beginning. I just needed to defeat all these enemies here. Simple enough. I also had to knock down 5 posters, and the first one was right here. The next Waddle Dee was up here, so I scissor lifted my way at it. The next section had me dodge rolling over platforms while trying not to be gooed. I lost my sword ability and found out 3 seconds later that I needed it, so I had to start over. When I got back to the part I was at, I made my way over the ledges and drank 845 gallons of water. All I needed to do here was spray water at these things. Look at its eyes, how does it even see? Anyways, third Waddle Dee. Also, there was another poster here. And now, a problem. The sky uppercut doesn't give me enough height to go over this ledge. Luckily though, there was a fire hydrant nearby. It gave me enough height while also being just close enough to let me clear the jump. I became a vending machine and was like inside an entire volcano. What I'm supposed to do here is jump over this gap with the vending machine, break these blocks, swallow the stairs, and use them to rescue this Waddle Dee. Obviously I can't jump, so this is what I did. Bandana D has the same sky uppercut attack, so I used it with him first, then jumped over as Kirby. So technically, between both characters, it's possible to do this without jumping. I don't know whether that's legal or not, but I'll allow it because it makes my life easier. And now, another problem. The third poster was on an edge and I can't fly. Or can I? The challenge was no jumping, and the previous challenge that I no longer have was no puff floating. This means I can puff float but not jump. So if I walk off the edge, I can legally puff float and knock down the poster. Then I purposely fall into the lava and respawn back on land. So I technically didn't jump at all and still completed the task. The next part was like this section from earlier, but with water this time, so it was much easier. And the fourth poster was in a much more convenient spot this time. I turned into a circle, steered a boat, crashed into an alligator, and found the fourth Waddle Dee. And after that, guess what? Another problem. It was the same issue as before, except this time there was no fire hydrant. I tried using some nearby objects, but they were too far away. But if you charge up Waddle Dee's attack, he actually goes helicopter mode and can fly over the ledge. Hey, I don't make the rules, I just follow him. And in this case, I'm totally taking advantage of one challenge to not break the other. This is okay in my book, and I'm continuing. The next section, I went into Archmouth mode and found a Waddle Dee. Imagine being captured by some penguin and then getting thrown into here, in the most randomest spot imaginable, and then Kirby spawns in as a flying saucer and rescues you. After that, the final part of the level. I knocked down the final poster, went cone mode, and fell into the lava. I didn't know it at the time, but one of the Waddle Dee challenges is don't fall into lava with a cone mouth. That means I would end up having to redo the entire level for this one stupid Waddle Dee. You know how teachers say they don't have a favorite student? Or how parents say they don't have a favorite child? Well, I very well have a least favorite Waddle Dee, and it's this one right here. Anyways, back to my first attempt. The trickiest part was here, where I had to land on this giant stone house or whatever. My plan was to downward spike and hope I make the jump, but I clicked the B button after I walked off the ledge, but I somehow still made it and then downward spiked. So I found every Waddle Dee, except for that one obviously. So I spent another 20 minutes doing that until I finally beat the level with all the Waddle Dees. So now it's time to destroy King DDD in... Okay, the single challenge I have for this fight is no taking damage, and I'm strangely okay with it. I could have gotten something like Australian mode or upside down Joy-Con. No taking damage will be hard, but definitely possible. I went into the battle and immediately took damage, but I didn't restart. In fact, I straight up defeated him right then and there. Obviously, I'm gonna redo the fight, but I did this just to get familiar with his moveset. So after I beat him, I just restart the level and fight him again, right? Well, no, I completely forgot this cutscene existed. King DDD straight up went through a character arc and sacrificed himself for Kirby and 3 Waddle Dee. Then I was going up this elevator with the narrator speaking. Man, I was just trying to learn his moveset, not illegally start the next chapter. What do you do whenever the villain switches sides and becomes the good guy? Well, obviously you go in there and fight him again, which is exactly what I did when I realized I could skip the cutscene and exit the level. I decided to go with the Ranger ability because it allowed me to attack from a safe distance. Defeating DDD without taking damage definitely took a number of attempts, but here's the strategy that ultimately worked. At the very beginning, charge up an attack, then immediately move to the left to avoid his hammer hits. After that, he launches these fire spirits, so I just moved to the side and charged up another attack. His next move was this hammer tornado. He charges at me 3 times, then gets stunned for a few seconds. I dodged all 3, did some chip damage in between each dodge, then used the charge attack when he was stunned. During his second phase, he goes full gorilla mode and starts chasing me like an animal. His 2 main attacks are charging at me from the side and trying to squish me from the top. I dodged all the charging attacks and just moved out of the way for the aerial attacks. And so that's how I beat Forgo DDD without taking any damage. It was harder and took longer than I made it seem. But after the battle, I noticed something. The subscribe button on King DDD's head. Okay, but for real, I unlocked every Waddle Dee except for one. You thinking what I'm thinking? Yup, I went back into the level and tried to rescue the final one. Apparently, I had to clear the level by using a second level evolved ability. So obviously, I thought this means I have to upgrade my Ranger ability and beat him like that. So I went into one of those mini levels I've completely ignored up until now and got one of these rare stones. These are what you need to upgrade your ability, so I went back to Waddle Dee Town and unlocked Noble Ranger. I went back into the DDD fight, and since the upgraded ability is a lot more powerful, I breezed through this level. But when I beat the level, I didn't unlock the Waddle Dee. According to Reddit, I needed to upgrade my ability twice. So I went back and did 3 more mini levels for the rare stones. I went back to Waddle Dee Town and come on, I needed to find a blueprint to upgrade the Ranger ability again. And of course the blueprint was in a level that gave me trouble. In case you don't remember from like 2 minutes ago, this level's challenge, funnily enough, was no taking damage. So I had to beat this entire level again just to get a blueprint. So finally, with 3 rare stones, I upgraded to Space Ranger, which I gotta admit looks sick. I went back into the fight and oh my goodness, I've been using the wrong kind of abilities. I was doing crazy damage with this new upgrade. I got past this first phase in like 15 seconds. So after an hour of this whole King DDD nonsense, I could finally go into the final level of the challenge. So here's how this works. This level's divided into 3 parts. The lion fight but he's insane, and the final boss. To keep the level interesting, I'm gonna spin a different challenge for each of the 3 sections. Alright, let's do it. The first challenge is only move while in midair. I actually like this one. It'll be difficult, but not too difficult. And now it's story time. So pretty much, you have this monstrosity, and it's trying to get into its final form. How does it do that, you may ask? With Elflin. I don't know how or why that works, but okay. The lion sent the weakest enemies known to man at me and then got mad when I destroyed them. My first attempt, I accidentally walked towards my ability when I lost it, so I restarted. Second attempt was a lot better though. If he stood still for even 2 seconds, I would take advantage and charge up my attack. I did lose my ability a few times, but overall this fight wasn't too big of a problem. And now more lore. It seemed like I was gonna be raided by a bunch of enemies, but nope. This alien beast fused with all the enemies and became this abomination. Wait, now I'm confused. Is that the lion in a different form or a completely different creature? Either way, the new challenge for this portion of the level was no puff floating. Perfect. As you can imagine, this fight was incredibly easy. Pro tip, if you're in a battle and your opponent has the ranger ability, don't give him any time to charge up his attack, okay? But yeah, I black holed him a few times and he was a goner. And so now it's time for the true final boss. You know stuff's about to get real when they give you the option to get any ability. I was about to enter the final boss when suddenly I heard a beeping noise in the distance. The chicken nuggets are ready. The challenge for the final boss, no copy abilities. Suddenly this entire room becomes a mockery. Goodbye, old space friend. So now we have the final evolved form of Elfland. Having no copy ability means I had to rely on swallowing and shooting back stars to do damage. My strat was to dodge attacks, deal damage, and win. My first try was going pretty good until I got darted by an insanely accurate throw. Also, I just want to point out the fact that it can heal. Like, what? My second try I don't even want to talk about. Just one more star and this thing was gone. One more backslash and I was gone. I got backslashed. My third try though, yeah, this was the one. I dodged most of this dude's attacks and delivered a perfectly shot star. Then, not sure what's going on here, but before I knew it, this thing was trying to cause an extraterrestrial collision. What does one do in this situation? Well, obviously, you inhale an entire semi-truck and start cruising towards the boss. These roads were horrible though, what a lazy local government. And now I'm floating in space while possessing a commercial semi-truck. I miss Waddle Dee Town. The best part about Kirby games is how the final boss always requires you to absolutely destroy your controller and thumb by mashing as fast as you can. And trust me, I was mashing fast. I destroyed the Fecto Elphalus and landed on planet Popstar. Looks like the collision was still gonna happen, but then, Elfland sacrificed himself to prevent it from happening. So after all that, the elf guy comes through and is the hero in this one. He was kidnapped for like half the game, but he will never be forgotten. And I gotta be honest, I never really paid attention to... Wait a second. Oh wait, no, he's still alive. Well then, false alarm.